Hey, welcome back, and today we've got a Lametric Time clock display. I will start by saying that this is an older product and it has been reviewed by others, but since its software has been updated and in fact during the shooting of this video, I think it's worth taking a look at. A lot of its past faultiness has been ironed out. It's very rare that the exact mission of a company translates so well once you use their product, and I will circle back to this later. I picked this up recently as a motivator for my YouTube channel, because it can show the subscriber count, among other things, but I realized it was much more than that. The Lametric Time is a sort of stock ticker of personal information that looks good almost anywhere you put it. It's a simple clock that can cycle through information that you have deemed important for yourself, be that the weather, your Twitch live count, time, stocks, who's calling you, or even the latest football standings. This thing can display that information in a neat way. First, packaging. The packaging is good, it's nothing special, but also doesn't give you the impression that this is a $200 product. And you're going to pick up on that thing quite a bit in this video. It just doesn't. It comes with multiple electricity sockets, which is very thoughtful, I'll admit, as well as a standard USB type connector, a guide, and the essentials to get started. You'll just need to download the app to get it all connected through a code it gives. I found the process quite intuitive and easy compared to connecting even an Amazon Echo, for example. The main device itself is well built, but its lightness makes it seem cheaper than it actually is. One thing I do really like is that there isn't a discernible screen. It's very distinct, it doesn't even look like a screen, and has more of a flat look. It fits perfectly fine anywhere you put it, and is not an eyesore, which is one of the main reasons why I'm happy with this product. And looking at the product photos, I did expect a larger device. I'm not bothered by the size too much, but it's definitely smaller than expected. But luckily not too small to make it a problem to see the information if you have it set a little farther than normal. Also, the brightness is well regulated. It doesn't shine so bright, making it hard to keep in front of you or your computer, and still can be seen perfectly fine from a few meters away if you decide to keep it on a table, like I have. The startup process was as easy as it gets, and you can get from unboxing to use within about 5 minutes. The app for the device is essential, so make sure to download it. I like the characteristics of the display as I mentioned previously. The colors in some cases are not perfect, and I noticed that mainly in the yellows, but that's a very forgivable flaw. The refresh rate is quite high too. When you have a scrolling message, it's reminiscent of a stock ticker billboard, which is quite pleasing to the eye. I also like the apps. The best thing about this simple clock is that there is third-party support. So some dude who has graciously added this F1 app has made it easier for me to check out the standings every few minutes. What's also nice is you can choose which apps to cycle and which not to. That's useful because it's off season now, and I can choose to resume early next year when the info is relevant again. I've been using it now for a few weeks and I haven't had any problems really. It's a set and forget kind of deal, which is very convenient. So what don't I really like? I don't like that it feels a bit cheap. But that's mainly due to how light it is. And although there are apps, I wish there was more varied support from the manufacturer. It's a bit smaller than I would have liked, but I think that relates to its main intent, where it's supposed to be sitting right in front of you for a streaming session or to be part of your workspace, rather than how I used it, which is as a furniture accessory. There's no battery, so you can't really take it around if you needed to temporarily use it for a desk-related activity and then return it to its furniture home. Lastly, the speaker is subpar. It isn't a speaker device, admittedly. I am aware of that, and the speakers do the job it's designed to do, like chimes and notifications. But the reason I mentioned these flaws, especially the last two, is because of its price point. I believe that the $200 price point could have just had better speakers and a limited battery, but if it were more appropriately priced, I don't think that would have even registered as worth mentioning. So would I recommend anyone to buy this Lametric Time? In order to answer the question, I do have to refer back to the earlier part of this video, where I mentioned that the founder's vision is apparent without even having read it in advance. When I first set up the device and my apps, I feared that it would be reminiscent of the Vector I just reviewed. But actually, I noticed something else. Although the clock is far simpler and less sophisticated, it does one thing extremely well. It displays necessary passive information in a digestible fashion, and it does so quite elegantly. Those were my thoughts when I used the device. I looked on Lametric's website to find that they said the following, and I quote, "We believe that the technology which brings us important information at a glance saves your time on getting key things and prepares you for better decisions." And I really appreciate that from Lametric. It's hard to pinpoint exactly why, but it works. I mean, this is a $200 clock in the end of the day. I've set it up and I just love taking a look at what it has to say. Subscribers or time or who's in the lead in the F1 season are all welcome tidbits. I don't need it to do much more than that really, and I don't need it to be my phone, which is the information overload lord. Sure, there's a speaker for playing music and chimes, there's support for echo, the ability to see who's calling, and a whole host of features here and there, but the Lametric is more focused on important information at a glance. And that leads to price, which is an indication of value. It's $200. That is just not cheap. And although the product is very well designed and looks good, it doesn't feel like a $200 premium device. It just doesn't. But also, there are no real alternatives that look this great, and it does what it does with flying colors. So I would actually recommend it for anyone who would like to see a bit more on a nifty little pixelated screen, and if $200 are really asking to be spent. But the real benefit will be if this thing can display some information that is important to you. Like if you're part of a company that needs to improve its social media presence, and this thing is lying around reminding the team that their hard work is paying off by showing the increasing followers, then its value really is greater than the sum of its parts. Or if you need to check your live Twitch stream count, large and unobstructed, the Lametric Time does that job extremely well too. But if it were only to be used as a clock and weather display, I would really have a hard time recommending this, and mainly because of the price. The options out there are limitless in that category, but as a tool to help you to remember to get back to the grind and work towards that social media goal, or celebrate your stock wins, or just keep up with the stats, it's a fantastic way to display the numbers effectively and prevent you from pulling out your phone every 2 seconds. So there you have it. I personally love it and will keep using this device, and I think that's because I only expect it to do a few simple things that it really was designed for, and for that and for me, it's a buy. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please give a like and subscribe to see more. Next, I'll be reviewing either the Apple Watch Series 5 or comparing Eero with Google Wi-Fi. So please let me know in the top right hand corner if you have a preference.